No, it's also, I think, Spirit Breaker versus Ember is just great. You can never afford to just be split pushing on the other side of the map. It's always a risk. It really goes against the style that you eventually want to be in on that Ember, as well as, like you said, Nature's Prophet, Spirit Breaker are global, but also really so is Batrider. You just get the boots of travel, and then you're also another hero to
Mhm.
go on top of the dog pile, and then your setup in the side lanes is just Tusk. I mean, the lineup kind of plays itself. Well, NoRunes switch it around. They end up with the Mars Mirana lane, I can only assume, just because Coddle has been more of a 5 position for Noages in the past. But okay, solid stuff. Not the most dynamic hero, but something in lane versus Nature's Prophet, which is really all they were looking for.
Mhm. Lanes well, gives you that team fight to sort of anchor yourself around, and honestly, someone who can maybe just be disruptive, right? You're not going to stop every member of Alpha from coming in, but the spear, the rebuke pushback, the arena, if they're all put in the right spots, maybe you can split one or two of those heroes and buy your team time to respond. That is a very interesting ban, though. Alpha removed the Underlord at this point, which the only thing I could think of is they would be assuming the Mars or the Ember would be just moving positions entirely at this point, but it's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange. I think in that situation, it ends up being Ember carry and Mars mid, which again feels a little bit weird and
Mhm.
random. But I think it also comes again maybe to defend their own picks a little bit. They don't want the Spearbreaker and their NP or their Tusk to be stuck. And versus the support duo on Alpha, Tusk and Spearbreaker would be miserable versus the Pit of Malice. But really, it is kind of random. It's not something I think really many people are thinking about. I think as an offlaner, it's certainly not a bad hero. It just fulfills that slower role where you're reliable, but your disable is still not fantastic. I mean, it is a great Greaves carrier, in all honesty, but just a hero that hasn't really been popular in that world scale, at least not recently. But we'll see. And of course, they split the bans. Sark makes a little bit more sense because, of
Mhm.
course, looks like we need a mini hero, and they've got a bat rid of themselves already. So, of course, why not?
They ban the Slark. No runes, meanwhile. Monkey King and Morphling. So, yeah, they ran the Morphling themselves in game one. Mini did a solid job of it, but they don't have last pick, so they remove it because Alpha could still swing that, right? You could put the Nature's Prophet in the off lane, and the Morphling could then sort of slot into your carry role. So, a bad play from No Runes, but now the question for Alpha will be, do they want to do that? I mean, they really don't have to. Ooh.
Hmm.
Now, the puck getting picked up. I don't think you want to sacrifice the Bat versus Ember lane there, so that may very well be puck at the 3 for them, and certainly make things interesting lane-wise.
Well, and that's where, despite Alpha not having last pick, they do have a lot of this initiative when it comes to the laning setups. As we always talk about with Nature's Prophet, you do get the ideal lane. At the end of the day, you have two TPs. You can force your opponent's hand in a lot of situations, but it also does illuminate the pit ward pick even more. I guess this puck was just more of that preemptive option. And of course, it also highlights the Sark ban a little bit more because now it makes sense if they were initially going to put this Batrider in a side lane that they would need to ban Slark. But again, that throws away the puck or the Ember versus Batrider matchup that we were praising already. So maybe that's Alpha one step ahead of the curve. Say, okay, maybe Batrider versus Ember doesn't matter. Let's give you Puck instead, which is going to be, I think, a very close matchup, even closer than Batrider versus Ember, and maybe even Ember favored in some situations. But maybe it's more of a comfort pick. And it also does solve one of their issues, which is that they were kind of looking for a big team fight spell. A lot of their lockdown is very singular, so it is
Mm-hmm.
that big ultimate that is going to make their lineup a little bit easier, but it's certainly a kind of strange swap up, even though I still think it needs to be Nature's carry. It still needs to be Batrider getting somewhere we can get a lot of farm. If there's one thing to be certain about Alpha's lineup, it's that they are very greedy. All of their cores need a lot of net worth to get going.
Right. You don't really have the kind of low cost efficient play like we had last game with Satoshi on that Primal, even though the Primal didn't really work out great, but that wasn't really a problem of dividing up farm. It was more just kind of overall execution. As the last pick comes in for No Runes, they're going to run the mini Naga Siren, and, well, why
Ugh.
not? All right, you're going to farm. You've got that sort of maybe get out of jail free card with your song, so What is the matchup going to be? Okay, the Naga Siren will be laning up against the Bat Rider because Alpha will be sending the puck mid.
Yeah, and they have to send the puck mid now with the Naga pickup. It's where sadly Alpha lose that flexibility that they almost had with the way that they picked up their heroes, but there's no way a puck would walk into a Naga lane. That's just would have been awful, would have felt awful. So they forced the Bat Rider there. And of course, Bat Rider versus Naga is still not the best, but it's better than nothing. Naga only gets one dispel. She still has to be pretty careful when it comes to her HP and how high those stacks do get. But that's also where Satoshi's going to have to work a little bit harder on this Bat Rider. Of course, your XP is halved. You're not really going to be alone too much in the lane. It's where Crawler is also on Tusk, so he's going to be bumping around, but he also wants his levels. It's where everybody is very XP hungry and gold hungry on Alpha, so they're going to need to win these lanes early on. Otherwise, there's not really a lot of time to recover if those lanes do go awry.
Well, I mean, we said that they were going to play fast with what they had drafted, right? Now it's less, they're doing it because they want to. Now it's more they're doing it because they don't really have any other choice. But we'll see. Does the change in pace work out for them? Alpha needing a win here, down 0-1 in this best-of-3 series. The loading screen music just played for a third time. That was okay, whatever. Dota works in mysterious ways sometimes, but we are ready to go here. Will it be a clean 2-0 sweep for NoRunes, or will Alpha be able to fight their way back into this? Well, whether the answer is yes or no, ET, we're going to get that answer quickly from Alpha, right?
Yeah, we're going to know. There are some signs that we're going to see pretty early on if the struggle is all but already happening. And a nice ping out. I think Tiger got wind of this word. Might see Mini just come up and start hitting it, honestly, at this point. But also a little bit of a collapse. They really wanted to. Both supports have boots on Alpha's side, so really, they could find a punish here. Unfortunately, unable to stick onto Jupiter there. Though, as we typically see, you can force the Mirana to get leap level 1 to avoid a death. Maybe it's better to just eat the death, but he's also not pre-skilling off the arrow. So, a little bit of patience here.
Tiger was able to get in there, get the D ward both on the Obs and the Sentry, so... I mean, all it took was one guy being just close enough to spot it going down, and Alpha have a slight edge here. Will it help them get this rune, though? Because if Mr. Jeans is involved, Crawler is gonna be hard-pressed to really grab this one for himself. You do see Tiger coming around the backside, but yeah, Jupiter's gonna grab it. 3 of the 4 go NoRunes' way, although... There we go. Your Miranda gets into a little bit of trouble, but that's exactly why he held off on skilling. It does now mean that he has leap at level 1, which frankly sucks for this lane, but better than giving up first blood.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Just means he's going to have to work a little bit harder for some of his plays, but then immediately runs right back into Crawler, and that's another leap, and a leap in the wrong direction. You want to go over those shards, so he's going to get walked all the way back under the tower. And Jupiter also only has one more Tango left to give to this lane. This is where they swapped with their supports. Heiko is going to be laning with Nuage's top, but I don't know if Jupiter's ready for this lane. He's got the stick, which is certainly going to help versus the Bat Rider, so I guess this was the plan all along, but Jupiter's going to start acting a little bit more like a 5 pretty soon here. Otherwise, Mina's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, so they don't get the Mars Mirana lane, which means, honestly, kill potential in this lane gets kind of low, but if you're spamming out the Chakra Magic onto Heiko, that means the Spear is coming up a little faster, the Rebuke can be a bit more spammable, and you sacrifice kill potential for maybe more in the way of just harassment and farming for your offlane Mars, which I think that's going to be important here. I mean, we saw what Heiko did last time. On the Beastmaster, obviously, your timing's a little different, but they're going to need him to be a big part of just about every single fight they try to take.
No, for sure. And I think big reason why they go for the Coddle is just so that he can be the one to nuke out those Treants. I think Arrow as well into Treants doesn't seem like the best idea, which is why they probably go for that switch. But it still feels slightly weird, and Nuages already steps out of the way for just a second, trying to give Heiko some of that soul XP. As we all know, trying to get that level 6 early is so important for the Mars. We'll have to see what Tiger's able to do to slow him up. But for now, kind of boring. Need these spells to be a little bit higher before we really see any meaningful trades.
Everybody's just poking and prodding. No early fighting just yet. I know we said Alpha's lineup's going to try to play fast, but you do need to be higher than level 1 to actually make some of those fights happen, so we shall wait and see. In the meantime, mid, even split on the water runes. Both mid laners have their bottles here early on, so just trading last hits at the moment. Mr. Jeans getting the point up in the flame guard here, so against the puck, I don't know. The Sleight of Fist Searing Chains max is never really guaranteed to hit anyway.
Yeah, as well as, of course, you can dodge all of that damage, or at least a good chunk of that damage guaranteed with the phase shift. Doesn't stop you from pressing that. But I can only imagine that he's going to keep Flame Guard at level 1, just because level 2 Illusory Orb will instantly takes it off. And already Snow's under a lot of pressure, but it's actually bottom, where they just get a kill, a reverse kill, where Crawler just got walked down. Just ate every single Starstorm, no arrow involved. It was just simple Magic Burst.
3 Star Storms used on that one, so yeah. Just walks him down and, well, I was saying earlier having Leap at level 1 sucks, and it does still suck, but level 3, all of a sudden, you can punish a Tusk who doesn't really have the same degree of mobility as up top. Tiger did try to charge his way in there onto Nuagas. Not really going to accomplish much at this point, but I think he was attempting to protect this pull as best as he could, but once again, just like we saw last game, Heiko is just getting over here. He'll take as many of these as he cares to and pull what remains, because Kid can't really do anything to stop that.
No, and during all that, Nuages is on the run. I mean, Tiger is faster, but okay, the deny and the bash doesn't allow for any of that. Very nice. And now Heiko, well, everybody knows you're alone here with a full wave with Treants running at you. Maybe after the water and we see a charge onto this Mars, but again, the trade bottom comes first, comes earlier. And it's the Barrier this time. Minnie is under 0 threat. This Naga's just not eating any damage right now. She is just fine with all these trades happening around her.
Just can't really do anything there as Heiko does get run down in the top lane. Tiger just never gave up on the chase, so that's going to even the tally a little bit across the entirety of the map here. Pretty solid stuff for Alpha in response. However, over on the other side of the map, Snow's in some trouble. Is he going to be able to jaunt away? Technically, yes, but with a Sleight of Fist coming up in 1, okay, or no Sleight of Fist, just damage out from Jupiter to make it happen, and he still doesn't have arrow at this point. I mean, kind of surprising. The Mirana 3 and 1 with no stun. And I'm just missing kills everywhere. Tiger, too far behind the tower, tried to charge his way in and gets punished for it. Kid, he had his TP ET, but if he TPs further back, he just gets caught out as well. And now Mini gets picked off on the other side of the map. Just going to miss everything, but Satoshi finally gets himself a little bit of revenge for that previous death, with Jupiter not back in the lane yet.
Yeah, everybody's just getting run down. Everybody's just getting killed. Everybody's quite fragile this game. Deceptively so, because there are these very tanky, strong heroes, but just a little bit too much in terms of the magic damage, I think, that's bleeding through for a lot of these picks, especially on the intelligence heroes on Alpha's side. All the cores are pretty darn easy to take down pretty early on, and then the opposite is also true. I think this is just one of those kind of odd starts to a game. But mid lane is a complete wash. Mr. Jeans is just on everything he has. Been very annoying. Right now there's an SP charging mid, but he's already got level 6 on the Ember. If he feels like he's a little bit too low or using too much mana, he's just going to get the reset. But again, more kills, and actually Mini, he's also in trouble.
Jupiter tried to turn around, hoping to get damage onto Satoshi, but that flame, or not the flame break, excuse me, the Firefly just created an area they could not operate in, and Mini gets caught as well. 2 kills going their way. The Bat's starting to look very impressive. One of the first heroes to die in the game, but 4 kills after that. That's him looking quite nice, and now back over to the middle lane. Yeah, not a whole lot here. Tiger charges away, the Puck just trying to cover the retreat with the Illusory Orb, and they got their gold with that play bot and in the south side jungle. They'll kind of just reset everywhere else.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to tell where we're going to see that next play happen, because of course Mars just hit level 6. He's actually just looking for Kid top, and yeah,
does he have the damage?
Pushes him out. No, pushed him out of his own teammates Illuminate, so now this play gets really awkward.
The good news at least is that Nuagas fell far enough back where he won't be punished for this, but yeah, just a little bit uncoordinated there, I think, with the Illuminate damage, because that was, I think, just about a full channel. Maybe they could have made it happen with the right clicks afterwards, but without it, they're in some trouble because now Snow TP's up here. They know that there's no Arena of Blood, so they want to push forward confidently, but Heiko and Nuagas very wisely say, hey, we used our spells, let's back the hell off. But at the same time, what's going on over here? Jupiter's been caught under the tower. Mini steps out of lane to try and farm some camps. The Mirana is going to get taken down. Mini TP's in now, but he's being charged, so they know they've got reinforcements coming. But speaking of reinforcements, Mr. Gene is in, pushing his way forward. They need to get this kill onto Satoshi really right now. They will be able to do it, and now, Tiger, do you want to finish this charge? No, he does not.
Yeah, and very nice that the revenge and the kill actually goes to the Naga Siren. Gets a whole lot of levels, gets a lot of love, but most importantly, just some more gold in her pocket. Because now, well, as we usually say, really about level 5 Naga Siren instead, she can just go for the jungle. But a fight on the 8-minute rune, look at that. All these heroes coming over,
he's
but
silenced. Still able to jump away. Tried to sprout there from Kid, but second jump.
he's green for the rune.
Yeah, I don't know about this. Snow's able to beat him to it. Good shards to block off the path there as well. And now, is there going to be another round of fighting here? Kid is pressing onto the tower as best as he can, but the arrow is flying. It only hits on a Tiger, though. So now, Jupiter's got to fall back, but Crawler able to connect with the snowball. The charge comes in, and they punish that aggressive maneuver. And at this point, as much as they don't want to give the tower up, ET, they don't have a choice.
Yep. Just nature's prophet things, as we kind of like to say. But yeah, look at Mini. He's the next hero under fire with great vision placed really a good few minutes ago by Crawler, but he will be able to walk that one out. And unfortunately for NoRunes, they would have wanted the TP and Heiko into that situation, but his arena was maybe a few seconds out from being up, so he isn't the one to take a part of that defense at all, even though he's the primary defender when it comes to these buildings, and maybe he'll look for some type of play bottom whenever that push inevitably happens as well. But in the meantime, he's just farming. He's waiting. That's what we can say for a lot of NoRunes heroes. They do need a lot of farm as well. It's where we are going to slow this game down quite a bit. It's where Kid is also going for the Midas that we've seen many Nature's Prophets go for it in this tournament already. So it's going to be that little bit of a slower pace.
Walking a fine line there for Alpha, though, right? You need your items, but you got to counterbalance that with the fact that you've got heroes like Spirit Breaker, Tusk, and Batrider who don't want to sit idle for too long. But they're focusing some objectives. Kid got another tier 1 tower. Midas is on his way out to him, as you mentioned, so still looking all right here. They do need to be a little careful of this, though. That is a double damage rune bottled up by the Ember, so Mr. Jeans could look for something, and of course there's still always a Mirana prowling around who does actually have a point in the arrow. So you catch one stray arrow coming your way, and all of a sudden it could be a DD Ember who's just quick to kill you off.
Yeah, even though Mr. Jeans does need to be careful. Of course, no tower for his teammates to TP to if he does end up getting coiled. It's pretty dire straits, but the coil is coming top. They're looking for a play on the Heiko, and they're bringing pretty much everybody. The Batrider's en route as well. Let's see, he might need Arena himself if he really wants to get out of here, but I don't know if there's enough time with the puck showing up. And there you go, coil, very clean from Alpha.
Perfectly played from them. Tiger in particular, charging his way onto the Mars there just to make sure that they were going to be able to bait him all the way in, so very nicely done. Meanwhile, Mr. Jeans says, I would like a free kill, but it's not quite as free as he thought it was. Tries to make the jump in. Doesn't get it with the Sleight of Fist, so the Moonlight Shadow, it was fading. Goes for the Fist. That did kind of reveal him for an extra moment or two, but not long enough for Alpha to actually go for the kill.
Yep, just took a little bit too much time, even though he does pop the rune, and we'll just be forced to farm with the rune, but I wonder if NoRunes are satisfied right now. They have to kind of sit by. They don't get a revenge play. It's where Heiko is still quite a ways from his Blink Dagger as well, and that's really going to be their big reason to get onto any of these early tier 1s. It just feels like maybe their timing is going to get shifted back till these 15 minutes when that cart's going to spawn and make their pushes a little bit easier. It's where, unfortunately, the Naga Siren really doesn't help all too much. Even though Mini's game, it's been very clean so far, aside from the 2 deaths, but just isn't very impactful right now. You know, he's en route for some pretty good item timings.
Ooh, Jupiter. Oh, his aim is just a little bit off. Tries to throw out the spear to catch Snow. Instead, he only reveals his position. They are quick to punish him. Jupiter goes down. Over on the other side, though, Tiger may be in some trouble himself. They do catch him out on the stairs. They're able to take him down. The problem is, it comes at an even greater cost. Heiko was left alone up top. And I do believe they had to use the lasso for that one. Yeah, they did, but really that's what it's for. Satoshi finds the kill.
Yeah, and I think a large part of that comes from the Mara's not really being able to leave his lane. It's the only place for him to find this Blank Dagger. Ember's farming mid, really. The Naga's farming everything else. It's unfortunate that it's just a pure solo kill. You'd hope Alpha would have to expend a little bit more, but that's where Batrider is just a very obnoxious hero. I also do like from Satoshi that instead of going for the Boots of Travel and a BKB build, which he definitely will need a BKB sometime in this game, he's just gone for the Greaves instead, just being very stubborn, still fulfilling the role that maybe his hero's not the best at, but it'll still work. Look at this. Very
All
nice.
in for the
Snowball's
bat.
coming in, though.
Okay. Snowball buys time. There's a charge coming out from the Spear Breaker as well that's gonna sort of put a damper on this play, and oh, Mr. Jeans, he's committed all the way in. He really couldn't even leave, so they get nothing. They lose a hero, and oh, they're gonna lose more. Goagus trapped up inside the Sprout. They'll take him down as well, and they just got to be a little bit faster. They just need a little bit more damage. Maybe that works. They get the kill and then they get out, but without the quick kill to start, it just turns into, realistically, an overextension.
Yep, and now pressure immediately onto that tier 1. It's Nature Prophet. It's free. Crawler's even looking for a hero just in case. And yeah, sees Heiko. Heiko sees him. Everybody starts to walk away, but it's actually on the other side where the SB is trying to kill Jupiter. Kind of a crazy play from Tiger, but yeah, we'll see. Probably dead for this.
4 seconds for chart. Yeah, he's not getting out. So maybe that was trying to do too much. It did guarantee that Heiko was alone, which kind of prevents him from defending that tower in any capacity. But I feel like they could have gotten the tower even without the overextension from Tiger there. But they are looking for a little bit more. Lasso deployed onto Jupiter. They take him down, but oh, Mr. Jeans again tries to push in for that kill, and again he comes up just slightly short. He is still looking for Satoshi, though, but there's the Dream Coil coming out from Snow, so now he can't jump away. Can they heal him up in time? Yes, they can, but he's still silenced, so there was still no jump. He's taken down by the shards, and now Kid TP's in. Duagus is again trapped up inside the Sprout. Second fight in a row. And ET, I mean, you still get the feeling that they want to try for those kills, but this is 3 or 4 times in a row where their damage is just a tiny bit short. Maybe you step back, you get that 1 or 2 items you need to actually make those kills happen next time.
Yeah, just again, it's the overextension, and it is the issue of this Puck versus Ember now that we're kind of in that mid game where, well, do you just go BKB first? No, that doesn't feel real too great. Do you delay this item and then get your Maelstrom and then hope that BKB is going to be your answer in 20 minutes or 10 minutes? It just doesn't feel great. It's where Alpha have a lot more time to abuse this Ember, really, without any rebuttal, even though, again, it can't highlight enough how good a job Mini's doing, but look at this smoke. It's perfect. Even tried to channel out the song, but isn't enough, and now it's on cooldown for 160. Just another great move from Alpha.
And Mini, well, with the nighttime vision, just didn't quite see it coming in time. Good instinct to try for the song, but the snowball gets off first, and, well, now they're in some trouble. The Manta was finished before that happens, though, so at least he didn't get sort of stopped right on the cusp of finishing that off. But at the same time, right, Alpha wants to go fast, and your Naga Siren only really has a Manta to try and deal with it. So, and he can't be overly involved in the fights. The rest of the team just has to try and buy the time themselves. And this is getting a little bit close. Satoshi, he wants vision, but he also needs to not get caught like this. There's going to be the arena. The spear stun is there, but there's that defensive snowball again. They're going to try and pull this as far back as they can, but Snow is still pushing his way into the fight. Does he have the coil? Yes, he does. He's not going to commit it yet, though. They can get Heiko without it. There's really no one else for them to catch, or maybe there is. Jupiter. Hit by the charge. Well, they didn't. They did have Sprout. They just didn't use it there. That's a little bit awkward. They will miss out on a secondary kill, but look at this. Crawler's still pushing his way forward. And now the coil is going to come into play. They've locked down Mr. Jeans. He's going to pop that coil first, but he does get silenced up after. But they don't want to dive at tier 2. That feels like going a little bit too far forward, so... Well, maybe they do. Satoshi, wow. Okay, he's playing up, but they're going to pull it back now. Or not? Wow, Snow, are you sure about this? Yeah, now he's rooted, now he's speared, and that's why you didn't want to dive the tier 2.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that one,
Hmm.
but thrown a bone maybe over to NoRunes because they were kind of at the whims of their opponents there. Even though Satoshi was unfortunately unable to find any lasso play, but rest of the lineup still looked very fearsome. And unfortunately for Heiko, it's just such a miserable Mars game. Now that Crawler has the Blink Dagger, it's just impossible for him to stick onto any targets. It's where you almost have to counter initiate versus Crawler, and then you can go, but the Tusk is never going to do that. He's got other heroes that go in front of him, so it just gets easier. It's where NoRunes, again, kind of have to wait for their BKBs still to make a lot of those easy team fights happen, as well as Gleipnir now finished up on Kid. I mean, it makes that lack of a BKB even more difficult to deal with. It's also where Mini is yet again not going for the Orchid build. He's just looking to tank up instead, what we saw him do last time he played Naga, but is that going to be the answer? Is he going to be able to outlast Alpha? Those are all the questions he's going to have to answer with what is just a heart.
Jupiter gets caught out on a warding mission. They will be able to take him down. Meanwhile, Heiko, he throws out the arena here, but again, they're not really getting the damage they need for this kill, so Tiger walks away, and Heiko's the one who's stuck. Pulled back into the fight, gets himself taken down. Dream Coil in the base. They really would love Mr. Jeans here, but that's maybe a step too far forward into the base, onto tier 3 towers, so they decide not to overextend on that one, but that's 2 more kills going their way, and the chance to pressure some tier 2 towers here? Not immediately, as the glyph does come through. It's a glyph that will be refreshed if they lose a tier 2. But at this point, Alpha, they don't really have the creep pressure to keep that going.
Yeah, and I think that's where NoRunes are doing a pretty great job of keeping these lanes out. It's really what the Coddle Ember combo does the best, as well, that's a punch on the Nuegas. He is going to have to work for it a little bit more, but losing Satoshi would be big.
Okay.
When they're going to lose everyone.
That was a big move in from Mr. Jeans, and they actually time it up incredibly well, because the Greaves get popped on the sort of initial bit of lockdown. Allows the rest of the team to push in and finish the job, and Nuagas, I mean, he wasn't planning to die there, I'm sure, but hey, he acts as the bait for 2 very valuable kills.
Yeah, and that is kind of a problem that Alpha haven't really solved just yet. Despite having an incredibly farm Nature's Prophet, despite having a great kill lineup and having the majority of the kills in this game, the tier 2s are healthy. The Nature's Prophet hasn't been able to get a decisive push going. The chip damage is there, but that's all it is right now. Now that Glyph's gone, maybe that changes a little bit, but every minute this game continues, it's more space over to Mini. Mini, who has a Reaver, who is looking at his heart in 1200 gold, who has an illusion rune as well. Very nice for the Naga to farm, but it's where you have to find a very definitive win from Alpha. Otherwise, the game continues. The creep waves get pushed out. Mr. Jeans and Coddle will keep on pushing out these waves. You have to kill it with your heroes. There's something that Alpha haven't proven to be able to do just yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, meanwhile, attempt number 2 to take out these dual obs wards down bot doesn't really work out, so that vision still stays there, but for Alpha, that vision was situational. That vision was when they were pushing up and really trying to apply pressure. Now, it does a lot less for them. Sure, they now see Mr. Jeans farming here, but it's not actionable intelligence there for them. They can't exactly go charging across the map trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks right now. Alpha, they're not able to force the Roche. Their opponents are walking in, and okay, maybe you get Jupiter here. You almost certainly get Jupiter here, but you still don't find the core kills that you want, even though there's a charge coming through. But do you really want Mini? He's really greeding out here. And okay, there you go. Sprout.
Oh,
Doesn't even flinch.
Okay. Oh, they got the courier, though. Okay. So they sniped the Reaver away. So that heart is going to be delayed that little bit longer. He actually did have the full thing if the courier had delivered. Is that enough of a window, though? Right? 2 minutes where the heart isn't up. We go back to the vision that they have that they can't really take advantage of. I don't know if Alpha have an opening for a fight. Part of the reason why ET We do see them going towards the Roche Pit, and this is an attempt that NoRunes really don't seem to be suspecting.
Well, and I think even if they were suspecting, I don't think they'd want to go into it. This is the BKB finish on the Nature's Prophet. They don't have BKB on their Ember just yet. If they were walking over to the pit, I think it'd be kind of a throw at this point. So first, Aegis will go to Alpha, but an Aegis that really seemingly they would have wanted 5 minutes ago with how they were able to play on the map. But, c'est la vie. They will wait. They waited for absolute safety, making sure that BKB on the Nature's Prophet is done. Does mean that that was the safest play they could have made on the map, but it is still building time. It has been building time for Alpha. I think Heiko, pretty free pick. They do have to use both of their big ultimates, but, could be worse. And are they even getting him? There's no TP in just yet from the Nature's Prophet.
Okay, he did throw the arena down. There's a TP coming from Mr. Jeans, and Heiko is somehow still not dead. Heroes are dropping low. Heiko finally falls, but what are they going to have to pay for this? Crawler is dropping, so they will get one. Looks like Tiger's going to fall there as well, and Mini. Okay. He's going to pop the song. Teammates are coming over. Do they have the arrow? Yes, they do. They have to end the song in time. They will do exactly that. Defensive scrap from Kid, though, is there, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. Now he's rooted. He's hit by the ensnare, and he needs a little bit of assistance here. Or maybe he doesn't, because Mr. Jeans recognizes he kind of just used everything he had in the last fight, so... Well, they will back themselves out. They lose New August on the way out, ET, but that's still a solid fight for them. Snow, though, wants to keep it going. He's getting a little bit of extra damage onto Mr. Jeans, but now he'll back away. If you're NoRunes, that goes well, right? I mean, Heiko was supposed to be dead immediately. Instead, you get 2 or 3 kills out of it.
Yeah, and that's where I think Alpha waiting a little bit too long there. It's where the gap closes a little bit. You get items like the Hood on the Mars. You get the Met coming out from Jupiter. You get the heals that are actually having a pretty large effect on this fight from the Spirit form. It's where they really needed to have their damage in that instance. But I think, unfortunately for Alpha, NoRunes caught them in between the teleportation cooldowns from the Nature's Prophet. So while he was dealing with the split pushing Naga, the rest of the team ended up going for the pick, and it kind of just fell flat on its face. Pretty fortunate they don't end up losing the NP either. If NoRunes have a little bit more gas in the tank, I feel like at the very least they take away Kid's Aegis and then disengage, but they also are just starting to build up on all of the cores. NoRunes are just getting away with it. And I mean, even in that fight, Mr. Jeets has a 9-second BKB. He didn't feel like he had to use it at all because he didn't. All of the pressure was on Heiko, a Heiko who you still got at the end of the day. But the heroes who are not having great games, well, they're still not having great games. And the heroes that are fine, the Ember and the Naga, are just slowly but surely building themselves up. And again, you can't say it enough. Alpha aren't getting structures. They aren't getting any more progression on the map. So the game will just continue.
Yeah, the map controls really kind of started to stall for them. And also got to remember, 15 seconds from that courier respawning, that courier has the Reaver that will complete the Heart of Tarask for the Naga Sirens. So Mini... Yeah, okay, yeah, 3 deaths here, but those deaths came in the early stages. Now, it is going to be much harder to bring him down, and now that matters. Before, he didn't really have much damage to work with. In these fights, if he's surviving through the whole thing, he is hurting your lineup a lot.
Yeah, and I do wonder what he decides to get. I feel like he could just go for Butterfly, Scotty, the usual suspects. I could also see him just buying a straight-up Hex, which is probably their best way to actually kill the puck in this game, which would honestly straight-up kill the puck, which is why that item's not too bad either. But again, until we get some more definitive teamfight wins for Alpha, again, the game continues. And now they are doing that. They're getting onto the tier 2. The creep wave does get axed off before the Remnant leaves, but the backdoor protection gets taken away. Creep wave eventually meets back up again, and now they finally get an outpost, which again gives them that little bit more map control.
Tower, they get their outpost. We do see what the Naga Siren's plan, though, is. That is a Shadow Blade getting picked up here, so Shadow Blade, Silver Edge, upgrade path for him, perhaps. Well, I say perhaps, that kind of has to be the choice, but we'll see how much that really works. There, I guess, is already some pre-existing detection that Alpha had been working with, just because they knew there was a Mirana on the other side, but can they be sneaky? They are sort of going smoke on smoke here. Obviously, NoRunes smoke was also protected by that Moonlight Shadow, so They need vision. They did drop a sentry down here, but Crawler is getting hit up. There's going to be the arena. They've got the Tusk stunned, and they do take him down. So, the defensive snowball is not really going to be a factor. Satoshi, though, did still go in with the lasso, but there's just not enough damage right now. He actually has to fall back, but Mini's going to chase him. Double kill now for your Naga Siren. And this is starting to get awkward. There's going to be the song. They're looking to reset. They see the puck. Is there... Well, is there enough lockdown here? They need the spear. They are going to be able to get it. It latches to the tree, and Kid, he just TP'd in, but he TP's into the middle of a fight that I'm not really sure he wants to be in, but he does still have the Aegis, so he's coming back up. Snow, though, needs to be able to find his way out. He's going to try for the phase shift play. Will that be enough for him? Yes, it will. He's able to blink, or maybe not. Heiko tracks him down, gets the spear stunned, latches to the tree. And they do find it. Kid gets away with his second life, but... I mean, Kid didn't need to be there in the first place, so him getting out, ET, really is not that big of a factor.
Yeah, and that is the exact opposite of what Alpha were looking for. That is their definitive teamfight loss. They lost everything there. They just stuck out a little bit too long. They didn't get a great coil off. They didn't really get to save anybody with Crawler. It was just a deconstruction of a team fight, and NoRunes numbers are getting a little bit too big. And now that those defensive items are done, the target is who? Is it Heiko, the Mars that is pretty good at tanking versus magic damage and has 2000 HP? Is it the supports who are just sitting so far back and then coming through with the heals? It's where Alpha need to drop that backline as soon as possible, because the healing really is the primary issue. Not only can they not deal with the Ember and the Naga on their own terms, but they also can't deal with the Ember and the Naga while they're getting 600, 700 HP back from their support duo. It's just way too much for them to deal with, and then they run out of damage, a problem that is historical for the puck. It's where Snow, despite still having a pretty great game so far, is starting to fall off the face of the earth now that we're 25 minutes in, 27 minutes in.
And you saw, I think the most impactful thing he did after the Dream Coil goes down is his phase shift dance tried to buy time for Kid to TP in, but as you say, the damage problems have always been there for the puck. He's trying to fix it with a Dagon, which is meh, really is all I can say to that. But on the other side, that's the Silver Edge now completed. That is a full Kaya Sange that Mr. Jeans has, so... The window's closing, and Kid, you're in trouble here. He doesn't have the Aegis this time around. Just has to go for the TP home. And he does make it out. It will sacrifice Tiger in the process, however. And, saw in the back end there, ET. Mr. James popped his BKB. I'm not really sure why, but... Not sure if it was a misclick or if he thought other heroes were coming, but it didn't do him much good trying to cancel the Nature's Prophets TP.
Yeah, no, I ended up feeling a little bit hollow, a little bit empty, and, well, NoRunes are marching. Even though they don't have maybe a secondary objective there in the mid lane, but the creep waves are getting cut, they're pushing in. Crawler's got to be careful as well. Of course, nighttime feels a little bit safer, but Heiko is already looking to make moves here, and, okay, Son with the shards, and, well, disabled the blink and actually latched him, but not too much follow-up, even though Crawler, he's getting picked apart right now. Poor guy.
Well, with the arrow hitting, yeah, they're gonna go for it. All right, that was a very sort of will they, won't they kind of moment. Tiger, okay, in and out as quick as he can, but that play doesn't really stop this push all that well. The creep is still alive. The tower just finished it off, but in that time, Mini's getting a lot of damage onto the tower for free. Kid, meanwhile, is... At this point, I think maybe just looking to creep cut. He's not really going to stick around that long, though. But over on the other side, they've caught Mr. Jeans. Can they finish him off in time? The heal's going to come in, though. The Ember is alive for now. Illuminate comes through to heal him up a little bit further. And now if you're Alpha, it just feels too disorganized. They couldn't get the kill that they wanted. The in-and-out strat won't work. They're just going to back away.
Yep, and now the gold lead is almost nothing. Just teetering on 2K at this point. Alpha aren't really able to do very much with his heroes, and now the sacrificial build for the Bat Rider, who doesn't have BKB, doesn't have these large-scale teamfight items, is really starting to fall behind in Snow. Well, they got him. Very patient. Heiko, perfect. Beautiful
Nicely
stuff.
timed. Charge comes in from Tiger, though, but it won't be enough. Yeah, he is still a very fast individual with the bulldoze, though, but eventually they'll catch up to him. That's Mini getting both of those kills as well. ET... I mean, you know, not to brag or anything, but at this point, you and I have seen and cast enough Dota. We're starting to see those warning signs. This is what NoRunes want, and this is where the red flags of Alpha's lineup are really starting to become apparent.
Yeah, I mean, the gap is closed, 21 to 26. Alpha haven't been able to make a move in a long time, and Roche is not favoring them either. It is matching up exactly with No Runes items timings. Just finished up the Sanjin Kai on the Ember Spirit, have a full Hex on Mini as soon as he makes it over to the side shop, losing Satoshi, and then going immediately into the Roche would be worst case scenario for Alpha, but at least he's able to survive for the time being. But no, this is not getting any easier. They need to find that backline. They need to make a jump, and they also need to get ready for Roche. Neither team really has any idea that this is already respawned, but all the vision being bottom just means this is going to be a pretty delayed response from both sides.
Yeah. Take a look at Mini, full Hex, Elven Tunic as well. There is just nothing to try and counter out the evasion, so... Well, this is where things get very unfun if you're Alpha. They need to just try and fall back, because Mini is on the hunt. Silver Edge is about to wear off. Can he find something? Well, they find him. There's your Dream Coil, but it's only on to one. How is this fight going to go down? Tiger's going to charge his way in. They are looking to take the Naga Siren out of the picture with the lasso here, but the heals are still coming. Mini's not dead. Now he's going to pop the song. And this is where it turns. Do they want the fight, though? Do they want to go back in? Yes, they do. They get the arena down. They get the Spear Stone onto Kid, but the follow-up damage isn't quite there yet. The Naga Siren still had basically no HP, did not heal up with the heart as much as they wanted him to, and Mini is going to get taken down. Can they keep this fight going without him? Yes, they can. They're on to Kid, taking him down before his TP completes. Now looking for Satoshi. Searing Chains is up, but it actually hit onto Crawler, who just kind of blinks into the path. And Mr. Jeans has to be very careful here. He is going to try and fight this one out, looking for the damage, grabbing the Illusion Rune as well. And even without the Naga Siren, they're just kind of outlasting their opponent's ET, and if you're Alpha, I think it's time to go.
Oh, he's still hunting. He's still looking for Tiger. This would be a big kill as well. He's got the gem. And doesn't get the chain timing, though. Unfortunate, but no, that was pretty sick. But I think really overstayed with the Noggin, of course, because of the execution of the team fight. They still get the Nature's Prophet, so both teams carry die. Neither can swing immediately for the pit, so that's completely fine. It really just was gold exchanged between the rest of these teams, but still, Alpha proved that they can make a fight happen. I think they got really their best target, though. They caught the Naga absolutely alone, broke the coil, lasted her as well, and now Heiko, okay, a little bit of vision. He's got Lotus Orb, though. He's really got a lot to protect himself here.
Oh, now the Hex comes in. They're able to lock down Tiger. Can he somehow get away? Not even a little bit. Rooted up there so he couldn't immediately charge, and...
Oh, there's the gem.
Yeah. They pick the gem up. Other than that, Tiger's death really isn't too big of a deal there, right? The cores are able to fall back at least, but... If this were 5 to 10 minutes ago, saying that would feel a little bit more confidence instilling. Now, now it starts to get a little bit borderline, right? It doesn't hurt them much in terms of gold, but Spirit Breaker's a body that won't be here for a Roche attempt, or a Roche contest, rather, as Mini's just going at it, and he's getting through this pretty quick.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the SB had buyback. If they were a little bit more privy to this attempt, then I think Alpha would have bought back on Spirit Breaker and then just would have walked over, but now it'll just kind of be a free Aegis for Mini. We'll see who ends up getting the shard. Probably goes to Heiko. I think Mr. Jones already has his, but sure, easy as that. I mean, it's super simple. And Alpha are only able to manage getting in the lane that they already have their tier 2 in, because mid's just a little bit too dangerous, and NoRunes take even more map control. And again, now the target shifts back towards that backline, because you are not killing Naga. You're not going to jump the Naga with Aegis. It's just no point. You will just get songed, you will get reset, or Mini will say, okay, you used everything, time to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Running out of just clear-cut targets to hit up, and the ones who would now become your targets, right, are going to be a little bit more protected. We talked about that Lotus, kind of glossed over it because Heiko was getting hit up at the time, but... Oh. Okay, Mini. I don't think he realized what he just did, but his song prevents Tiger from moving. Then he tried to TP in time to catch the heroes retreating from bot. That part doesn't work out, but it is still a nifty play. They might still end up losing something, though, here. Tiger does charge onto Nuagas, but they're not really getting this kill all that quickly. Instead, Tiger goes down. Nuagas does fall, though, so the gem has hit the deck. But they've got other priorities. They need to be able to save the Ember Spirit. He's caught by the... Oh, caught by the coil, and I use caught in air quotes at this point because Mr. Jeans just patiently waits, pops his BKB, and now they're going to look to turn around. Who do they want to focus, though? They want to focus everybody, actually. They're going on to Crawler first. But Kid was able to pop the BKB and walk away. And Snow do the same, though. He is going to get snared. Does he have the timing here? He's going to jump away early, but the spear still hits him.
This reward transcends
Still,
expectation.
ugly stuff. Ugly fight. NoRunes just immediately gave up on bottom and then just somehow made it in time. And just the power of Mr. Jeans, just too strong, too good on the Ember. Uses all of his remnants in that game, or in that situation, and then just makes the fight work. I think they had a good idea there from Alpha, and really, it was a nice grab from Tiger, but again, it just wasn't fast enough. If they get those kills and then they retreat, if they get a gem, they escape, they maybe waste a little bit of the Ember's time, but it's not feeling great. This, though, is a great play. Got Mr. Jeans, no BKB, got him in the Sprout, and look at that. 1,200 for Kid. Not bad at all.
Kid just hit level 25 as well, so he has this no CD on his teleport. Unfortunately, it was on cooldown at the time he picks up the talent, which I feel like that should remove that. I don't really know. Code-wise, that's a little bit funky, but if you get the talent that removes the cooldown while it's on cooldown, it shouldn't be on cooldown anymore. That's kind of the point. So, whatever. Big kill, solid play. Nature's Prophet now free to maneuver around the map anytime he wants. Will that be enough? Will that help them sort of keep the Naga Siren contained?
That is the question. As well as Kid, I think now having a full Satanic, I want to say. Yeah. He's feeling pretty happy. Sells his treads too, so we got a bootsless Nature's Prophet. He's not 6-slotted yet though. Still has the Midas in. I feel like that's where would probably like to see the MKB or even a Bloodthorn, or maybe it is just a Hex for himself. Anything to give him some more kill threat would be pretty nice, but game is far from over. NoRunes, really, with this Aegis, have just been able to clear up some of those tier 2s, moved the map over a little bit, got rid of some of that lead that Alpha had built up before, but slowly but surely, Alpha are finding some ways back in. I think really seeing Satoshi get back involved in this game, it's been so long since we've seen a good Lasso, since we've seen the good Greaves. He's really been kind of sidelined, mainly because if he shows up, he will die, but still has to find a way to play. As look at this, finds the back line, they're staring at each other, and blinks forward on Satoshi, but he is on the lam right now and running right into an Ember who knows that you just Greaves, so he's still
Nice
making him work,
staff.
but
You can dodge an arrow, but you can't dodge the death. Mini gets the kill, and yeah, that is the point. Satoshi, that was a big play mid, right, where they picked up the kill onto the Ember Spirit. That was the last just really solid Lasso initiation, so the plays have been there, but, you know, few and far between. They need him more active. Might need to maybe give him more farming priority. I mean, he's working his way towards a BKB, but the progress is pretty slow. But if he starts taking farm, then he's taking it away from the Prophet and the Puck, and maybe you can't afford to do that right now, especially with Mini knocking on the front door here. Looking for the tier 3 tower. Tiger tried to charge in, lost about half of his health in the process, but they are going to pop the Gleipnir. That clears out a lot of the illusions, but the Hex is down. They are going to be able to catch Tiger out. They'll take him down. There is a buyback available, though, but without the Nether Strike, I don't know if he really wants to be in here. I don't know if there's too much of a fight to be had. Maybe there is now, though. The Aegis has expired. Still not an easy kill on the Mini, though, and they're not going to take any chances.
yeah, and the cut wave that Kid got is going to delay any chip damage that these non-illusions will do, so the push will peter out, but really, it's up to NoRunes now to actually find Kid. If they can get a BKB for us, I mean, they're the team with the Ember Ags. They can really close that gap, but they do actually have to find the Nature's Prophet. It's where it might be time for some of those Tinker Wards, just so that way you can get that initial catch and then force him to play just a little bit more defensively, because right now, Kid's just kind of been a maniac on these lanes.
This is where things get a little bit fun. Mr. Jeans, he hit 25, he took the Sleight of Fist charges, he has built a Battle Fury, so I mean, if he gets both of those off in the middle of a group, the amount of damage is going to be kind of staggering as Kid. There's your BKB forced. You know, They don't really have anything to go through that BKB at the moment, so they can't kill him. But again, as you said, BKB is now down for a good long while, and Kid, as strong as you are, fighting without magic immunity just feels like a bad idea.
Yeah, it will force him back as a bottom. Look at this. He needs to get Snowball saved in a sec, but Mini is isolated. He needs the song out of here, but I don't know if he's going to be allowed to.
They are trying to keep him locked down. Does he get the song off? Yes, he does.
Insane.
Where's his TP? Oh, he's leashed still. Okay. Now he's just got to make a break for it, and look at Heiko coming in. It doesn't save Mini, though. Snow continues to chase. And, well, Heiko is almost certainly dead here as well. He tries to buy some time with the Lotus, and he will do so, but big death. And now, well, the domino effect. They're looking for more. Noaga's out of the base as well. They're not going to be able to catch up to him, though. Now we see the downsides of having no boots on your Nature's Prophet. If you don't TP directly onto the target, you really can't do anything.
Yeah, and really, initially, that was Mini trying to get aggressive on the NP, just calling that he'd go to the lane that none of his teammates were in, which was a great call, but then he ends up really hard isolating himself. And sadly, without the heals coming through, there wasn't much you could do in that situation. And there's no buyback on the Naga. There is on the Mars, but this is free damage at this point. Now, Mr. Jeans, look.
He didn't want to use his BKB. He is going to be able to survive that for now, though. The tower is still taking some damage. Can they bring it down? Kid is playing pretty far forward here. He wants the objective. He is going to be able to get it. But losing the tier 3 refreshed the glyph, so now they can buy some time for the racks. 15 seconds for the Naga Siren, though. Yeah, they're not going to really be able to do anything. They just have to let that racks go. So, Alpha, okay, they strike back. They got the big kill that they needed, right? Taking the Naga Siren off the map. But now, they really have to effectively do it again, because even with a full lane of racks taken, gold-wise, we're still pretty much even, and the Naga Siren and the Mars are back up.
And that's why the immediate smoke comes out. They're looking for a quick pick. It's why the retreat from Alpha is so nice, and they do see the Naga Siren Illusions going back to their side of the map. And look at that, Tiger. So easy for him to get out of the situations. Boldo Shadowwalk, he runs right back into the Naga, but, they don't have vision. Vision has been a huge part of this game. The Trickster Cloak, just the slight invises, it's really been a problem for both sides. The Glimmer Capes, it's been very annoying. And actually, okay, Mr. Jeans, man, just got a Battle Fury. Sure, he's level 25, he's got the 2 Slight talent, so, I mean, why not? But it's been quite a while since I've seen that. As Crawler,
It's going to make him work
fight.
for it. Oh, they do pick off one. Immediate buyback, though, from the Mirana, but the TP is going to be far away. Meanwhile, Crawler's TP is directly on top of this engagement, but there's the song. Going to catch him out. Do they want the engagement at this point, though? Mini's pushing in like he wants it, but this feels risky, but there's going to be the Requiem. Wow, Requiem. No, that's going to be the Snowball reflected. They're pushing in, and they've caught them entirely. One Lotus Orb just won the fight. They're going to pick off Snow here as well with the lockdown. that was it. One Lotus. It just completely turns the fight around. That reflected Snowball locks down 3 or 4 heroes as it rolls past them, and Alpha just shoot themselves in the foot in the worst way possible.
Yeah, and a fight that they had already used Lasso, they had already used Coil, and unfortunately, Kid doesn't even get his BKB off because that stun is chained into an arrow. I mean, you couldn't ask for a worse situation. And now, they're going to buyback check you. NoRunes might just go for tier 4s. They might just say, hey,
Yep.
Are you guys home? Your Nature's Prophet is cutting the waves. He's not fighting us. And you look over and you say, no, they really don't have that many buybacks. So the Batrider's got to do something, but this is it. This is the final fight. It's going to be a 3v5 that NoRunes are going to force.
They don't have ults, right? They've got 1 BKB on Kid. They've got Greaves, I suppose, but Greaves don't heal buildings, and the Ancient's been exposed. There's going to be the jump. Kid pops his BKB. He's alive for now. Meanwhile, Tiger into the fight as well, charging his way forward. The Ancient not taking a lot of damage at the moment, but that's only because the heroes are the ones being targeted. They got the Hex down onto the Nature's Prophet. They're able to run him back to the steps of the fountain, take him down. No buyback anymore. And I don't think they can really hold this now. Spear comes through. Satoshi will fall. Tiger getting pushed away, just trying for a miracle ET, but there is no Miracle left. GG will be called, and NoRunes. The patience, the just unbelievable confidence that eventually they were going to be able to turn it around. And saying that feels almost like an oversimplification, because that fight in the woods just like 45 seconds previously, that could have been the fight that loses them the game. Instead, it gets them over the hump.
Yeah, and it was really difficult to tell what No Rune's intentions were, just because Mini did not look very confident being in there. Pyko still doesn't have a BKB, so the Marius doesn't feel too confident standing when he doesn't have his ulti, but I mean, it just works out for them. And then Alpha, they aren't prepared for that next stage of the game. I feel like this game could have gone on a lot longer if everybody was just ready to make another defense attempt happen, but it kind of just ends catastrophically for them. But up until that point, first 25 minutes of the game, I think Alpha just didn't find openings on those objectives as soon as they needed to. They were too split. They were trying to do too many things at the same time. They weren't able to push that early lead nearly enough. They couldn't get Roche fast enough. They couldn't get the tier 2s fast enough. They kind of played in NoRunes' hands. And then NoRunes lineup, which for most of the game or most of that late mid game was just nuking waves. They were just sleight of fisting. They were coddle blasting. They were pushing out. They were really just dealing with the aggression. And the aggression got dealt with. And then Alpha just fell off a cliff. And again, I think unfortunately Satoshi just stopped being a hero. Did not really get to see very much from the Batrider. And of course, we like the switch up from the build. We like that he is making himself more reliable by picking up items like the Greaves. But then, once it's time for him to be a hero, the BKB is not there. The farm isn't there to help him out at all. And then the rest of the lineup is, well, whatever. What are we going to do? And then sadly, even Kid falls short with his physical damage because everybody else is magic. It's just him doing it. So once those BKBs are over, when those BKBs are done on NoRunes, well, what? You just got a Nature's Prophet hating you? Usually that works, but there's just nobody else to really help him out in that regard. So it just ends up being a pretty easy victory for NoRunes past that 35-minute mark.
Yeah, and you can see the damage numbers. They're still impressive. Just shy of 38k for Kid on the Prophet, 39,000 for Snow on the Puck. They do a pretty solid job, but I also want to point out, we talked about how unbelievably useful it was in these fights. 15k healing from Nuagas, 8k from the Mirana off of just mech. This isn't even a full Greaves build, it's just the mech. And heroes who were supposed to instantly die so that Alpha could push forward for more just didn't. They either didn't die at all or they died too late for Alpha to sort of swing from target to target. And that's where we started to see the progress peter out, because if you can't find the picks, if you can't take the fights, then they couldn't get objectives. Then Mini comes swaggering out of the jungle with a full Naga Siren build.
Yeah, and it's just that easy. Just keep on going late, just pick the bigger carry, and then eventually good things will happen, as we've seen already a few teams that have already qualified, pull that card on us. But that's the good news, right? Alpha aren't out. They've got one more series to play. My only question is, I wonder who's going to be on Alpha's team the next time we see him, because they've got even more things to figure out. Even though I think in this series, Kid had some pretty standout performances. I think
yeah.
he really was the standout player for the team. Sadly, I think Snow got a little bit bodied, but I think Kid is really going to be the one to look out for if we do see him in that next matchup.
And, I mean, don't want to be too rude, but if they're not going to have rises, Kid did pretty damn well. And Alpha, that is the thing to consider here. They get 2-0'd. It's rough, right? These games were not exactly ideal for them, but they're playing with 2 stand-ins. Plus, I think at this point, Satoshi and Crawler are just part of the Alpha roster, so who knows if they technically count as stand-ins or not, but it was basically Yunomi plus 4 fresh faces here. So the fact that they put up the kind of effort that they did, even in a losing effort, is still something I think they can build on going into tomorrow's match against Ravens.
Yeah, and maybe they just need Empyrean. Who knows? They didn't let him in. They didn't let him in. But that's it.
That is our, well, what ended up being our lone series of the day done and dusted. Congratulations to NoRunes. They are punching their ticket to Phase 2 and ET. You know, I said it, what, yesterday as well. You know, it's looking pretty SA heavy here in terms of our Phase 2 squads. NoRunes adds another mark to the tally for those South American teams. And Alpha versus Ravens tomorrow. There's no guarantee that an NA squad sort of slips in there either. So this could be a little one-sided with our distribution, but hey, if that's the way it goes, the way some of these teams are playing, doesn't matter about the region, it's still going to be good Dota.
Yeah, for sure. And, that just means that our NA squads that are in phase two, well, hey, they've, got a field day in front of them. They've just got a bunch of pins that they're going to want to knock down. But of course, don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Still got a few more days, but still fun stuff.
Mhm. So that does sort of close us out here for today. Do want to remind you of what is coming up tomorrow. We will have the lower bracket finals for both sides of our bracket. It will be Alpha versus Ravens on this side of the bracket, and on the other side, Wildcard Gaming versus Dog Champ. I think, looking at this correctly, it will be the Dog Champ Wildcard series up first, and that is going to be at around 1 p.m. Pacific time. So that should be the start time for us moving forward. I know things have been sort of jumbled a little bit, obviously today with one of our series being a forfeit. We started later, but moving forward, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern should be the standard time. And if it's not, obviously we'll let you know. But that'll do it. We're going to be hopping on out of here tomorrow afternoon, though, final day of phase one. So very much hope that you will join us for that. In the meantime, thank you all for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening.